Good evening. We are glad to have Lakshmi over here. She's an avid traveler, blogger, and author of a book named Geared to Ladakh. Let's say something about her experiences, her journeys, particularly the one from Kalpati, Palakkad district to Khardungla, Ladakh, which was an amazing solo bike trip. Before we move on to her, I have to say something. If you have any queries, the speaker will be answering them at the end of the webinar. So feel free to type in your queries. Now let's welcome Lakshmi and hear from her. Lakshmi?
Yeah.
Yeah. Moving on to you.
Thank you, Shruti. First of all, thank you everyone for joining within a short period of time. I know that time was changed. Still 25 plus of you made to this session. I'm so grateful that you are all available over here. So, and thank you, Shruti, because Shruti has been my class, schoolmate. We haven't spoken to each other for a long while, but then she reached out to me when, she had to present it before the IEEE family. And I consider this as my opportunity to share other than the experience as a whole itself. I was asked to speak in English so that many of the other non-Malayalis family who are over here can, understand what I have to share about the technicalities that is behind the whole trip. So thank you, Shruti, and thank you everyone for, conducting this. So let me just quickly jump into the session. Before that, I would just like to give you a headline that I might burp, I might, speak not in a very pleasant manner because I'm actually carrying, it's my 3rd month, I'm married and I'm having a baby. So that might affect me and my conversation. So please do ignore my flaws. So, okay, about the whole experience that I've had, it was an unexpected one because I started the whole journey to get out of my depression. Depression is currently a common scenario that most of the youth, and it doesn't have an age limit, I guess. Everyone is facing it. Some know that it is depression, some doesn't. I was fortunate enough to know that I was going through depression because I lost someone very close to my heart, my grandma. So to come out of it, I started traveling more. I bought myself a bike, and then that's what led me to, road trips. And the main reason behind solo riding, that's the question that I get a lot. The main reason is you don't find a lot of girls who are, quickly on their feet. Whenever you call them, they won't come outside to, roam around with you. It's not like boys gender race. Girls are a bit more, waiting for the family's, approval to come ahead and join any trips. So for me, my family was a bit more, it's a very, very small family. It is just my father and myself. My brother is married and settled apart. So it is just my father. Father has given me a lot of individual freedom to, do whatever I like, as long as it is under my, hold. So that's how I ended up doing the solo journey. And also my work. I am currently working for a US LLC. It's a customer service platform. It's a marketplace where I work remotely. For the past 3 years, I've been with that company. So that work, I need to do it online via night. So the daytime is fully free. And that's when I started small trips like Goa, Bangalore, any hill stations within Kerala and in Tamil Nadu. And I started also using TikTok last May. So it's actually getting 1 year this time. So when I started using TikTok, I kind of thought of why not share it with the world, at least few of the ladies or the few of the men. Even though the topics are just roadmap for ladies, I would say traveling doesn't require a gender. As long as you have a heart to travel, you're bound to travel. So I thought, okay, let me just share my experience or just few ideas that I'm going through and then share what I'm seeing on my trip, because I'm not a person who just sees the destination. I just enjoy the whole journey before I even reach the destination. So I thought of sharing it with the people who love. And somehow it got clicked. People loved it in TikTok. And some of the comments, to be honest, some of the people who commented that this is not such a great thing to blabber about and to, do something real with my life. So I pretty much was shocked to see what exactly were they referring to, and some of them came up with the idea of Ladakh. So that's how I came to know about Ladakh. To be honest, I came to know Ladakh just 30 days before I started my journey. Not even 30 days, even lesser than that. So I started my journey. I kept posting the videos in TikTok, and rest is history. Most of you know, Madhubhumi was the first Kerala newsletter to reach out to me to share the story with the whole world via their online site. I had no hopes because I never read newspaper via online. I'm still an old soul. I love newspaper, handling them, holding them, smelling them. Um, and then the online one, somehow it just got the attention of the people around the world. And everything changed after that. It was released last October 31st, and which scored more than 4.7, I guess, million views. So that actually opened up a lot of windows for me. That's one of the reason I'm able to sit here and talk to you guys and share the details. Okay, that was my experience as a whole. Like, I traveled throughout India, most of the states. I couldn't cover the eastern states, northeast and east, because of flood and all that. But apart from that, I was able to cover most of the western side and the center. So if you look at the mapping, I was the one to start through Mangalore, like Kerala's top north, Kasargod, Mangalore, and then reached out next via, Goa, Kolhapur, and then went on to next to Bombay. We didn't enter Bombay. So that was the route map in a nutshell. One of the main thing, like I would say, it is the preparation that made the whole journey successful. The preparation was nothing. I had only 1 week to prepare because I was in Bangkok. I'm a person who loves to travel, just save every penny that I have. I don't spend it on makeup items or clothes or other materialistic things. I'm totally okay to spend it on my bike, attach a new crash guard, buy new stuffs for my bike and myself to ride. So I was that person. I don't know, somehow it ended up that, because getting myself good gears actually made the ride a bit more enjoyable. So that's what pushed me to invest more on my rides. So, and then I was able to visit Bangkok for 3 times. I save money every year and visit most of the countries that I'm able to. But Bangkok was the only country I was able to make it because I was so in love with that place. While I was there, that's when the idea of Ladakh came up. So as soon as I came back, I only had 1 week because I wanted to start the journey immediately. I have to plan it around the work schedule that I had. I also have to plan how many days it might take for me to go and come around. So I had no idea of the weather, the terrains, the issues that I might face. The only issue that I had to look up for was not to get physically assaulted, because it's India and because I'm a woman, because it might not be safe all the places that I might travel. So that was the only concern in front of me. So pre-travel preparation was the biggest thing that I've ever done in my life. That's when I found out that I'm capable of planning a lot, because I'm so scared. People might think a person who traveled all alone throughout these places would be very bold. I am bold, but I'm actually very scared. That scare feeling actually gave me a lot of confidence to prepare more. Over preparation is sometimes it's actually good. That's what I was able to find out from my own experience. So I had 1 week. Within that 1 week, I actually categorized few things. So when it comes to planning, because I'm a business management student, I don't have any other background. I'm a BBA graduate. What I exactly did was I found out the things that I have to give importance to. One, that was my work. Second thing, it was the bike, because she was the one who's going to carry me around. Third, my physical health. Four, my physical safety. And fifth is my, funding. Funding, I get paid every 15 days. So that is settled. As long as I work, I'm going to get my salary. And I had a golden chain, so I don't have to worry about anything. I can sell it on the way and then continue my travel. That was the idea. So for the bike, so for ladies or gents, whoever is planning for a journey, I would say invest really good on your bike or the car, whichever, overlanding or whatever you're planning to do. Invest more on your vehicle, because that's who's gonna be with you the whole trip. Even though you're not well, the bike can take care of yourself. So for my bike, what I did was I wanted to fit, the Ladakh carriage, that's what you call, so that you can have enough luggage on both sides of your bikes, which I couldn't afford at that time because I was totally broke after the Bangkok journey. So I had around 10,000 with me, and the rest I had a credit card. And my father was also able to help me out with 3,000 rupees. But that's nowhere gonna help me out to finish the journey. So what I did was I gave my bike a full complete service. And I, personally spoke to the service people. The Bajaj Service Center people in Palakkad are very good. Not the whole company, but the people. They were really close to me. I was their only lady customer for the whole bike section. Domina, Pulsar, whatever bike you name it that Bajaj has, I was the only lady customer. So I have a special place in their hearts. So the people, the service manager, the employees, the service attendant, the main service guy, I spoke to the person and they offered me to enter the service area, which is not allowed for normal owners to just enter the service area. I was able to enter that place. The main technician showed me what all I should be careful about, because I also did a few research in YouTube, other sites, like what to look out for your bike, because the terrain is going to completely change. As you know, we have plain roads until we reach Himachal. Once we start climbing towards Shimla, the terrain is going to change. Like, it's going to be hilly, it's going to be very off-roading, the roads are going to be slippery, and the level of oxygen that's going to, burn out your bike. My bike is a carburetor one, it is not a fuel injection. So the difference is, carburetor one, once if it gets stopped on a high terrain like this, you have to make the bike parallel to the ground, only then it will start again because of the petrol overflow, whatever. I'm not very sure about the background work of a bike, because I love the bike, but I don't do operation. That's the thing. So I had to undergo a bit of training. I stood with them for a day. The basic things that they taught me was how to change the accelerator cable and the brake cable. So because it is really difficult to insert that wire through the body and then make it reach out until the pedal or the gear, what they suggested was they added an extra cable on both sides, so that I just need to unscrew it and plug in the new one if one of them fails. So that was a pretty good idea, and it was completely technician's idea. He helped me out with that, because most of the people who travel via Bullet, they always have the issue with the accelerator cable, because of the way that you keep accelerating. Once you move past Shimla, there's a lot of chance for the Bullet bikes to have that cable issue. But for my Pulsar, the whole throughout the ride, it didn't give me any issue with both the cables. And the second thing was how to, tune the carburetor spark plug and all, change the spark plug, I'm sorry. So I had 2 spare ones, so that if one gives me issue, I can change it again. Because once you start climbing the colder terrains, the spark plug might have some issues. So they gave me 2 extra ones. That was the second thing I learned, how to change it. And then coming to the chain part, we never thought of chain becoming loose. But then people who are watching my TikTok videos suggested that the chain needs tightening. I was not aware of that. But then the people helped me out. So I found out a nearby workshop wherever I travel. They tied the chain, which is very cheap of cost. And then that was fixed. The other thing was the tires. The normal tires that you use for the highway roads, the plain roads, are not totally compatible with the slush, the off-road, with the rocks and metals, dust, etc. It is not compatible. Even with the snow, it is not compatible, because it's highly slippery. And my bike is actually 3 times my whole weight. I'm around 50, 55. My bike is around 170, 200, I guess. So I'm not able to control my bike if the weight has to be lifted onto my end. So I was being very careful not to, put my bike down, because once the bike falls to either side, the petrol might leak and the bike might not start for some time. So I was very careful not to put down my bike. That was one of the great concern I had throughout the whole journey. So for that, I had to change tires. The tire that I had in the beginning was the MRF ones, I believe, which came with the bike. I'm not sure. But they were too old, completely torn out, because I've been using it for 1.5 years. But then still they suggested I'm totally good to go until New Delhi, because it was around 3,500 kilometers from here. But my tire never gave up, even though it's a tubeless tire. So I had puncture kits with me. I learned via YouTube how to do the puncture, once if it goes puncture, how to, manage it until I reach another final source to change my tires. So when I reached Delhi, I went for the best off-road tires, which would help me out throughout the journey. But trust me, changing tires actually made the grip very tough, because the whole weight actually balanced out, I believe. So I had to push extra to get the balance back to my handle. Once when you start riding a bike, after a few kilometers, like few thousands of kilometers, the bike starts to act like a part of your body. It goes in the direction that you want to go with it. Some people do say that the bikes have souls, or the vehicle that you drive has a soul. I strongly believe it has a soul, because it just listens to you. It moves to the direction that you are thinking about, even without you moving it, and helps you save your ass most of the time. Sorry about that. The bike did save me for a lot of times, because a lot of times the bike did go out of my grip. So that was one of the things. So with the tires, coming back to the tires, the ones that I chose was Ralco and another Indian brand called Veer. Veer was the one that I used for the front tire. Front tires are really important once when you start climbing, because that's when the whole control is. Even though the back goes slippery, the front can control it. That was my first off-roading experience. I never go off-road. So even if you're going through a main road, and if there is a block, some of the bikers, go down the, muddy path and then climb back to the road. I don't do it, because I know it's stupid, because I don't know how to ride on an off-road. But that was the off-road of my life. After Shimla, once you pass Shimla and then reach towards Leh and all, it is fully off-road. And that was a learning experience, becoming me a good rider. So the Veer brand tire was very good with the slush. It gave me a total grip control throughout the journey. And the back tire was excellent with the Ralco. So both of them, I was able to use it until I came back, and then maybe for a few thousand more kilometers, and then I gave it to my friend because it was still intact. It was not, torn very much. And then I moved to Michelin after that for my bike, as of now. So that was the tire part that I handled. Apart from that, I also had a crash guard for the engine. I also had a pedal foot, but then somewhere along the trip on the off-road, they both, unscrewed and fell down. So for the whole ride, I had to put my legs on the footrest, nowhere else. Usually for long rides, they will have the full bumper in front, and so that they can just rest their legs up straight, which I couldn't do throughout the whole ride, which was very disappointing. So sometimes I used to just stand and ride, and then just extend my legs like flying and then ride. That was the other part. So fixing up the bike, make sure that you have enough, handles plugged in so that you can rest your legs in different angles. You might need it once when you're going through highways. Highways are, in India, once when you come through the center part of India, the highways are very vast. There is nothing else to do. Just listen to the music and keep on riding. Only the unexpected entrance of cows and dogs. People are not even available on the center parts of India. It is completely rural villages. So trucks, cows, and dogs. Sometimes you'll also get hit by the birds. So that's the only thing through the center part of India. So for the bike, that, and then I also attached some fog lights. The main thing why I decided to have fog light is if in case I had to ride through the night, I might need a good more vision. But I was planning not to ride through the night. Reason being, I was traveling alone. I don't want to take risk. I can only ride at night during Saturdays and Sundays, because that's the only day I get rest. Rest of the days I'll be working. So for Saturdays and Sundays, unexpectedly, if I have to reach another city, I might have that fog lights. And even what if the northern part of India, like Leh, Kardungla, has very dark, climate because of snowfall. So I had that fog lights attached. So those were the pretty basic things I did. And change of coolant, I had change of oil, and then what? That's it. I didn't even carry an extra jackie for the petrol, because there is a point after Keelong, you will not have petrol for around 370 kilometers. But at that part, I had other people helping me out, riding with me. They shared maybe 2 to 3 liters of petrol, which was more than enough for my bike, because my bike was on an average giving 35 kilometers per liter on the highways, on the flats. And once it started to climb hills with the off-road tires, it was pulling a lot of weight. It came down to 20 or 25 kilometers per liter. Still, it was a good ride throughout that. So that's what I did for the bike. And throughout the journey, like I completed around 11,400 kilometers. Out of that, I had 4 services, one from Palakkad, one from Delhi. That was the second stop. And from Delhi, when I reached Leh, I serviced it. Then at Amritsar, I serviced it. And then whole round through South India. Then I came back to Palakkad and again serviced it. So that was totally a 4 to 5 services that I did for my bike. So I really took care of the bike so that the bike can take care of me. That was the first thing. Second thing, for my physical safety, the only thing I could carry was a pepper spray. I know that might not be enough if a lot of people are going to attack me, but I had a good positive, optimistic view about people. At least if there are 10 bad people, there will be one good person. That was the idea. So I had no opportunity given in my way, thank God, to use that pepper spray, because people that I met throughout the way were really good and very helpful. Very, some of them even invited me to their house, but for my own safety, I had to reject politely. So that was the other experience. And then for my personal safety, that's it. And then for my physical safety, my body, throughout the journey, I drank a lot of water because hydration is very important. At the same time, I'm a lady, I cannot just urinate in public. So urination was one of the biggest issue that I faced, even though that might make you frown, but that was the biggest issue as you might face when you're traveling as a whole and as a female, because you might not find, clean urinals. And then I have to then make sure that I find a good place to rest myself and all that. So that was one of the main issue. And then I ate a lot of nuts, which I packed from Kerala. I tried to eat fruits at least each day, and the food was limited, to be honest. And I'm an athletic person. My whole body is athletic. So I couldn't eat a lot. I was only able to eat sufficient, and I was traveling through highways. So you cannot get 5-star food all the way. So the food sometimes costs just 20 rupees and you would get a butter naan, kulcha and all that. So that was the food type that I had throughout the journey. Bread omelette, noodles, aloo paratha, and then that's it. That was the whole journey's food that I was able to consume. Then finally, it comes to my funds. As I said, it was through my work that I was doing, and I was able to arrange fund from one city to another when I started journeying. Every day I might put petrol around 800 to 1000 rupees, and it would carry me around 500 kilometers per day. On the maximum kilometers that I was able to cover on a non-working day, that is Saturday and Sunday, was around 600 kilometers. But then on a working day, as you know, evening 7:30 I would sit for work, morning 4:30 my work would finish, and then I would sleep immediately and wake up by around 9. I freshen up myself. Every day bath is important. I would freshen up myself, pack everything back. Packing is one of the biggest headache. So it is better if you don't work and travel. Reason being, you have to pack everything, your gear, laptops, wires. So even if you forget something on a hotel, it is going to be costing you then on the next stop. So I was very careful with all the stuff that I'm going to leave behind in a hotel. So I packed very minimal. I just carried 2 sets of dress, 2 leggings, 2 t-shirts. That was the only thing I was carrying for my dress, apart from the riding gears and the thermal wears that I got from Decathlon. I would come to the thermal gear after this. So just 2 dresses for the whole journey. For the whole 59 days, I had just 2 dresses. And then I would pack everything, start my journey within 10:30 after, filling myself and the petrol for my bike. I would start by 10:30, reach the next destination before 6. That was the target for every day. So planning was the one actually, led me throughout the way. Even though I met few people who were riding towards Nepal, Bhutan and Khardungla, some of them gave me direction. Some of them joined with me throughout the ride, some of the ride places. So I was alone only 70% of the ride. 30% I had assistance, like people were with me. Some other riders were with me. So when I reached Manali and all that, people were with me. And that was the thing. So I would travel until 6. Then again by 7:30, I would find a hotel, settle in, buy dinner for myself, because I also have to eat at night, like around 12 p.m., 12 a.m., 1 a.m. So that was the whole routine on a daily basis. That was the thing. So when it comes to planning the route map, it was totally up to the GPS. I did end up in a lot of crooked roads, blocked roads, even in front of a river. One of the road actually did lead me to a river. So that was another thing. The whole journey as a whole, if you look at it, it was very difficult for me. But the only thing that kept me driving was that I had to do something for myself before I turn out an age. Like, I was 29 when I started that journey. So I wanted to do something so that I would come out of the depression that I had. It was very bad. Even it was very suicidal. I even did try it. I'm ashamed of that. But then, yes, it actually helped me out to come out of the depression and make me a better person as a whole. And then I ended my journey on September 23rd by reaching Palakkad and then going back to Ooty. And then after one day, I came back to Palakkad. That was the whole journey. About the thermal wear that I said earlier, the weather was completely unpredictable when you pass after Manali, because Leh, Sarchu, Keelong, Jispa, all those spots between Leh and Manali, they have a lot of oxygen deficiency. So during day, they might have a bit of oxygen, and during night, it would just drop below even a person can, because we are from plains, we cannot adhere to the oxygen levels that are fluctuating on those northern parts. So the things that I did for that is I bought myself an oxygen can. It is good for pumping. You would just keep it in your mouth and then pump it. It is very cheap. It is around 300, 200 rupees. You can buy in a normal medical store. The other thing was Diamox tablets. Not many people are, can have it, because some of them would have another reaction. For me, thank God, again, Diamox didn't give me any issues. It actually helped me out. So morning one, night one was the thing that I was consuming, like after Manali, because that's when the oxygen starts dropping. And one of the other local thing that I was able to find out is chewing a garlic clove throughout the day would give you enough oxygen supply for your body, and it would just make you compatible for the oxygen levels. And the issues that I faced during those low oxygen, because your bike, your car, whatever it is, it needs oxygen to burn the fuel, combustion and all that. My bike suffered a lot. It acted like an asthma patient after Rohtang Pass. So even if you give the throttle, it would not go beyond 4 or 5 kilometer speed as a whole. First gear, second gear, whatever gear you are. So even if you give full throttle, it's not going to move. Your bike has load, your luggage is load, and there is no oxygen. So that was one of the main things that I faced. But you know what? It never let me down. It stops. Most of the places, we are Pangong Lake, when I was traveling towards Pangong Lake, it stopped a lot of times. I just kept talking to my bike. It might sound insane. I just kept, talking to my bike, asking to restart, take me there. I don't want you to cheat me and all that. So that was the kind of connection that I had with my bike, and she never let me down. I know, being, IEEE students or IEEE family, you might not think it's completely engineering that's working behind that, but I do believe there's a bit of soul, that connection that I had with my bike, which, if even the bike stops, if I have the right attitude set over here, I would be able to go forward. So the right attitude was the thought that I had a connection with my bike. So she took me through those places. I had issues with the carburetor, so I parallel it and then start again. I give the bike enough rest. The engine becomes overheating. So all those issues, we were able to, overcome all those issues together like friends. And that was the whole journey. Not sure if I've missed anything. Technically, those were the things that I did for myself and for the bike and for the trip before I started it. That's the story behind the camera. So I was told to talk about 45 minutes, but that's the only thing that I've done for my bike, apart from having that experience of a lifetime. So I would like to end it here. And if you have any questions, I would be so glad to answer it. Shruti, on to you.
Thank you, Lakshmi. It was very informative.
Thank you.
We have some questions. Let me check it.
Sure.
Okay, the first one is, somebody is planning an all-girls trip, which is using a car. It's an all-India car trip. But we are concerned about safe accommodation. Would be great how you managed it. Like, She wants to know how you manage your accommodation. Did you book your accommodation in advance or on the go? What are the things we need to care while booking the accommodation?
That's a great question. Cool. That's a great question for the group of people who are planning to go for a trip. For the accommodation, it's actually unpredictable. Once when you move out of the southern part, all the apps fail. What I mean by that is there are a lot of apps like Make My Trip, Booking.com, Airbnb, GoIbibo, and Oyo. So once when you book it through those apps, and once when you reach the hotel, they would deny it. They would say we are no longer associated with the app. That was the main thing that I faced. And some of the apps actually charge you even before you reach the hotel. So I had issue with that. So I had to call them, follow up with the customer service, cancel it, and then get my money back after 1 or 2 days. That was a hectic thing. So the best thing to do is on your way, if you have planned to stop on a city, make sure you reach that city before sundown and then walk up to the reception, talk to them, and then take it. Talking to the people actually gives you more control over the room. Once when you enter the room, these are the two things that I did. I'm not sure if that works any longer. I would shut down all the blinds, switch off the light, and check for a camera by using my camera, because if there is an infrared, I think I could spot it via red light. And the second thing is two-way mirrors. Just put your fingers on the mirror and see if you have two-way reflection and all that. That was the two basic things I did. I would check the neatness of the hotel room before I book it. Book it, and because I was alone, I would talk to the receptionist. I would be upfront with him. See, I'm traveling all over India. I'm alone, so I need full safety. If you can offer me safety, I'll rent tonight, and tomorrow morning I would leave the room as soon as possible. And if there is a delay, I would check with them what's the checkout time and all that. So I would make sure first I talk to them clearly and make sure that this is what my intentions are, this is what I need from your hotel, because they are people, they are making business. You are a customer, so make sure that you talk to them, make them understand what you want, and then establish the connection and then pay for it. Don't upfront pay for them. First check the room and then go for it. Make sure that you have bolts enough and all that. Always keep your pepper spray, your any things that are available next to the pillow. That's how I did it, and that's the way you should go about it too. Don't trust the apps always, because the apps fail. Shruti?
Okay, thank you, Lakshmi.
Cool.
Let's move on to the next question. Which city you found difficult to travel and why?
The city that I had the most difficulty was Delhi. Even though they have the best roads, the roads that I travel through, the traffic is the horrible thing you will ever, you don't even want to dream about their traffic. So people who have been to Delhi, people who have been born in Delhi, they know what I'm referring to. That's why I skipped Bombay, because I wanted to go to Bombay and see a lot of places, but I did skip it and then go through that, what is that place? Pune and all that. But somehow I got caught in Delhi because I had to do a lot of modifications for my bike. Also wanted to see Qutub Minar, India Gate, and Taj Mahal and all that. So I chose Agra and then entered Delhi. Delhi, it was just a 4-kilometer stretch. I was having my periods, to be honest. So it's not a good, pleasant feeling to ride while you have periods, and because your body temperature is up the mountains and you don't feel comfortable riding a bike in between your legs. So that was totally unpleasant. I was tired. I've had these mood swings. I have cramps. I have this luggage weight in between thousands of people, pushing me around the side. Autos, buses. So one of my co-rider had an incident with a, lorry or truck or auto. It just went past his leg. So it was very difficult to ride through that. To complete 4 kilometers, I had to wait around 6 hours. So ladies, if you're there, you know how hygienic we have to be during that period. I was not able to make myself hygiene for 10 hours because of that whole traffic. So that was one of the worst experience that I had, and that was the worst city. But riding through, the worst city was Agra. Even though the Taj Mahal is the highlight, once you move past that boundary, Agra has the worst people and hygienic environment. They spit on the road, they shit on the road. They doesn't consider other people. The traffic is horrible. People ride like it's their own road, and they are only bound to drive through the roads. So that was a horrible experience with Agra and Delhi. Thank you, Shruti.
Okay, the next question. One person has asked many questions. Let me pick one by one.
Yeah.
Even boys find it difficult to convince family to travel. So how did you do it?
See, as I said in the beginning, it's just my father and myself. Me and my brother hasn't had that connection in a very long while, because he's married, he's with his wife and kids, so it's their family. My family, it is just me and my father. My father, if you met him in person, you would understand. He would agree to, anything if I suggest. He's such a poor soul, good soul, very silent. He's a very submissive man. It was always female who run the family in my family line. So our family has this bold female lines, and men seems to be very submissive. I'm not saying this in a bad tone. It seems like female take the authority to run the family, earn more, take care of the family and children, take care of the house and all that. So we have had that in the history. So when it comes to me, I talk to my father like a friend. Even though he doesn't understand and agree to a lot of things, we still talk to like friends. So it was easy for me to talk to my father about my ideas. He was seeing me how much in pain I was after my grandma passed away, because I was totally alone. Nobody was taking care of me. You need care and attention if you lose someone. I was totally alone. So I needed attention, but there was no shoulder to cry on. I was going through that pathetic situation, but my father understood it from a distance. So when I said that I wanted to go for rides, he was totally okay with it. He said, okay, go, come back safe. He was not bothered what time I'm coming back, because I always ride to Coimbatore. If you know, it is just 60 to 70 kilometers from Palakkad. I always go there, watch 3 to 5 movies every weekends, and then come back at night around 2 or 3 a.m. He was never concerned, because he knows that if I go, I would come back. So that was the trust that I developed in him over time, not through just one overnight. As parents, if you think from their shoes, what they want to see in their children is that boldness to make sure that they are okay, and they would respect their parents and be there for them. That's what, as a parent, they expect from their children. That's what I've understood from my parents. So if you can portray that trust and develop that trust in you, whatever you do, they would support you blindfoldly. That's what I've understood. So with my father, when I planned this Leh Ladakh trip, I actually told him the night before that, night around 8 o'clock, I told him, Pa, I'm actually going to Jammu Kashmir. He had no clue where Jammu Kashmir is, to be honest. But then he said, okay, Ma, you go and come. I told him, Pa, it would take around 45 plus days. He said, okay, go. And all those days, 59 days, this is the level of trust you have to understand, that 59 days, I didn't call him. And he was totally okay with it. When I came back, he was there in the sit out welcoming me, and we had a hug. So I think some are not gifted with such parents. Some parents are very strict, I understand that. But once you can develop that trust and make sure that you outgrow what you are as a small person, if you show that to them, they would have full trust on you. So that's how I did it. Good question though, thank you.
Okay, the same person has asked a few more questions.
Yeah.
How safe is it to travel from south to north? All issues related to Naxal attacks and so on. So how did you manage it?
I didn't encounter those kind of people. I should call myself a bit more lucky. And that luck actually came from my planning, because I plan not to travel around night. Even if you're a man, don't travel at nights, because once when you start reaching the north, burglary is one of the main issue, not the Naxalites or terrorism. Trust me, burglary would actually make you stranded on highways. They might even harm you to get you whatever you have, even if you have 100 rupees. So night travel should be avoided unless you're very confident and you have few people around with you. So I avoided night travel. Daytime actually made the things possible. Once when you go to the north, I had no issues with terrorism. But once when I reached, Jammu Kashmir, Srinagar area, that's when the United Union Territory issues were going on. So it was pretty much under control of military. And military people, trust me, they deserve a lot of respect, because we have seen military people gather around like crowds and travel on train. We don't give a lot of respect. What if we see a cinema star, we give much more welcoming smile and offer them things, but not a lot of people offer that to a military person. But I would think they need to get more respect and more honors. Reason being, the way they control the situation up at north when things were becoming really bad, because North Indian people, if you see some are very, what do you call them, very attacking mode. So that's what I would say. For an example, I was crossing through Srinagar, a straight road, small road. I had two other men with me. They were also riding. We saw a group of people. I think they were Muslims. I'm not sure. That doesn't matter though. They were actually attending a wedding in one of that house. So they were covering the whole road and crowding it. And when they saw us riding towards them, usually what people would do, they would just move across and give you a path. But these people didn't. You had to wait. They were staring at us. And then one of them thought to move, and we had to go off the road and then, take a U-turn and then go ahead. So that's how they treat other people. They don't treat you like you are an Indian. So I would say military was taking care of the whole situation. I didn't have to face any bad things from people. It was totally safe for me, being it was a day trip ride. So yeah, no other issues. Did I answer that question? Shruti?
I'm audible now?
Yeah.
Okay. There's one question.
Mm-hmm.
Is it possible to camp in tents, and how to get about it?
Yeah, that was a pretty good idea. I'm sorry, go ahead. You didn't finish the question.
You have anything to say about it?
Sure. Tent stay would be the cheapest way to stay ahead and then have a beautiful journey. Since I was alone and I had to work, I couldn't go with the tent because I need internet connection and power. So I couldn't stay in tents. I just had one day to stay. As long as you reach the cold terrain, you can definitely stay in tents and save a lot of money, because I'm sorry, booking hotels on an average, it would cost you 800 to 1000 rupees. So the main cost that I had to face throughout the journey was the accommodation. So 59 days into 1000 rupees, I had a lot of expense for that. So staying in tents would give you a good feeling. So always choose a nice spot. The better thing if you're on highways is to choose petrol bunks. Stay at petrol bunks which are 24/7 on a corner. Make sure you talk to the petrol bunk people. And some of the other cycle riders that I've met on the way, they always go for the Sikh people's temple, Sikhs. So they would offer you free stay as well. You can put up a tent. So tent stay would be the best. Until Manali, I guess you can go for the tent if you have the proper gear, like hot things. What do you call that? Thermal vest. Yeah. So until Manali, it would be best. But after that, the cold, you cannot control it. You would definitely need a room and a thick blanket, because in in Palm, I had 3 thick blankets to cover me. Still, I felt really cold. So it would be great if you can stay in tents until Manali. It would be nice.
Okay. Next question is, I'm a beginner in riding and I find it a bit little concerned if I can balance my bike using my legs, and I'm scared of falling off. So can you suggest me some advices I can do to prepare beforehand to make myself more strong so as to balance the weight of my bike?
Cool. First of all, I'm very bad at advices because I don't have that much experience. That's one of the things. But I can share my experience, which you can use. So when I started riding, it was my bicycles that I started riding. So when you have that balance, that you can lift both your legs and then go forward, that's the thing that you need on your bike. And then when it comes to a geared ones, make sure that you understand the gear and what proper gear that you have to use, like first gear, second gear and all that, to move from one speed, one pace to another pace, one inclination to another, downwards and all that. So you have to learn by riding. And the main thing that I used was YouTube videos. YouTube is very helpful when it comes to anything. If you get the right video, it would share a lot of ideas, shed some light onto your mind so that you can learn lots. So if you want to ride with balance, ride more. I would say first start riding on an open ground. Don't go to the crowd. Another experience that I've had is from here to Coimbatore, I once took my bike. So highways were very pleasant because it's open, it's straight. You don't have to worry about anything. You just need to give the throttle. I went up to 6th gear and I went. But once when I entered Coimbatore, it was heavily traffic. And one of the auto filler actually shouted to me, finding out that I'm a lady. So he assumed that I will not ride better. So he assumed that I will not ride good. So he shouted at me asking, hey, if you don't know to ride, don't come to the roads. So that actually provoked me. So if I don't ride on the traffics, how am I supposed to know how the traffic works? So take your bike with full confidence. People are going to shout at you. You are going to make a block, but that's totally okay. You just need to have a bit more confidence that you will definitely improve. Everybody makes mistake. Make sure that you don't make mistake until you hit someone, right? So make sure that you know how to use panic braking. Panic braking helps a lot of times. It is nothing but if you're going on a 40 or a 50 kilometer speed and immediately something crosses, it's India. So anything would cross you all of a sudden, people, another bike, dogs, cows. So all you have to do is panic braking. Immediately push your brakes and you have to stop it. So find out the ways you can immediately stop your bike at the same time balance on your bike. So it's always better to learn that. YouTube videos again, panic braking, also learn how to deaccelerate and then brake, apply brakes on that. And then the final thing is to build a lot of confidence that nobody can share, not even YouTube videos. You have to develop that confidence that you are here to ride, you will learn it, and then you will ride. And don't fear about falling. I had that fear, and to overcome it, I rode more. That was the thing. Because I understood, even now, I cannot take a proper U-turn. I have to, walk like a duck to take that U-turn. So what am I doing right now? I go for a lot of, hill station rides where you have a lot of U-turns. That's giving me confidence. So whatever you're feared of, do that more so that you will overcome that fear. That's the best way to overcome your fear, and you will eventually become better, because anyone who's gonna practice your thing more than 21 days, it becomes your hobby, as someone said. So keep on doing it, you will automatically become better. There's nothing stopping you. Shruti? Shruti, you there?
Hello?
Yeah.
Can you hear me? Yeah.
Yes.
What was the total cost of your trip, the entire trip?
That's a great question. I get that a lot. To be honest, it costed me around 1,95,000. Don't go awe and don't lose your hopes because it costed that much, because I had a lot of other obstructions. If a person want to make that Leh Ladakh trip or an all India tour, you can make it a bit more cheap, less cost, if you're not working and if you're traveling, immediately. For me, it was 59 days, for Christ's sake. It was more longer than I've planned it out. Then I was not able to cover a lot of kilometers every day. I could only cover 300, 200 kilometers per day because I was working. And I couldn't stay in tents. I had to stay in, accommodated places, hotels. So it was just my own expenses. Like I had to bear the whole room. There is no single room available. Always it's a double bedroom. So I had to pay for that, and the food, and the bike expenses, and the petrol. Petrol was almost around 42,000, I believe. Yes, because 11,400 kilometers average out of your mileage. So that was there. And the final thing was I was working. So I had the expenses like that, and I'm a lady. I had expenses like that. I did a lot of shopping. That was an expense. And even before I started my journey, I invested in some things like gears, riding pant, riding jackets. So if you're planning, go for Alibaba Express. It would take weeks for you to get it, but it is really cheap in Alibaba.com. AliExpress, sorry, AliExpress. I'm really sorry. AliExpress offers a lot of cheap products, good products. Check the reviews and buy it from them, and it's really cheap. I got it from Amazon and I had to get it quick within 1 week. That's why it was costly. And then I also got a GoPro for myself on an offer. So everything included GoPro, gears, thermal wears from Decathlon, all the thermal wears like jacket, that thing, boot, glasses, my work accessories, my luggage, my bike cost, my accommodation and food and petrol. All this included, it was around 2 lakhs. People do it less than 60,000 rupees because it doesn't take these many days for you to go around, and you can also stay in tents, and you can make sure that you eat healthy but less food. So all these things considered, you can actually make it within 60 to 70,000 rupees and visit all over India. It is cheap.
Okay, let's move on to the next question. Did you face any language issues during the trip, and how did you tackle it?
There was only one major language if you enter North. It is Hindi. And I can understand, not a lot. I can understand if they're cursing me and if they're offering me something like food or water. For me, human interaction was really less because I was moving from one hotel to another, one place to another, and I was not talking to anyone. For my own safety, I kept it all to myself. I was just enjoying the view and staying in hotels. So language was not an issue. And I know basic words like Jaipur jaane ke liye rasta kahan hai. So something like that actually always helped me out. So language is not a barrier as long as you have a good GPS, and if we can just talk in actions, people understand in India. Yeah, no issues.
Okay, finally, what is your next destination after lockdown?
See, I got married in February 20th. It was all of a sudden, I met my soulmate back in December. I went to Bahrain, I met him. We fell in love within a month. We got married within a month. So everything happened so quick. And I'm also pregnant now. I came back at March 8th. I went with him to Bahrain. I came back on March 8th. I came back to do Nepal, Bhutan Tri-Nation ride. Unfortunately, the lockdown started and now I am carrying third month. So if the lockdown is lifted after August, I cannot make another journey until my child becomes 2 years at least, so that I can, give it to my husband and then start riding again. My idea was to go for a world ride, but God has other plans, sending Corona, making me married, getting me pregnant. So as of now, no destinations. It's just focusing on my motherhood. That's it.
One more question, Lakshmi.
Yeah.
What was your plan for any emergency? Like, were you sharing any GPS or something?
Actually, there was no backup. No backup. See, my total journey was because I was coming from negatives. I was not even starting from zeros to go up 1, 2, 3. I was starting from negative 20, negative 18, negative 19, like that. So I had no ideas of getting into issues, also no ideas to back myself up if I get into issues. I didn't even have my support from my brother, so I could call him and ask for any help. So it was all alone, me, myself. So the only thing I did was to take a lot of precautions so that I don't get into any issues. Like spider tingling senses, women always have this tingling senses. If they sense, any harm that's on their way, they know it. Women somehow know it. And I knew it. So I would never take that path and go through that to achieve something. I just did my journey, made sure that I am safe, made sure I was able to go forward. Nothing stopped me. I had to face nothing. I would say it just all worked well because God knew that I already went through a lot. He didn't want to give me more. Maybe that's why I had no backups. But don't do it without any backups, I would say. not because not everyone has the same experience. I would always say, always keep a backup. I would lie a lot. Sometimes my GoPro is blinking. It was on a shop in Gujarat. The person came up to me and was asking, why is it blinking? I said, it is a live video. It has been shared to my family, so they know where I am. So you cannot mess with me. So I did a lot of lies throughout to make myself protected. And I also, on few hotels, I said, there are few other riders with me. They are staying in the next hotel. So if there is any issue, they would come running. So that's why I'm staying here. So people think that I'm not alone. Yeah, Shruti.
Wow, that was amazing, Lakshmi. Thank you so much. Somebody else wants to thank you also. She's our mentor for all the IEEE volunteers over here.
Yeah.
Let's hear from her next.
Sure.
Mini ma'am, are you there?
Yeah. Thank you, Shruti. Hi, Lakshmi.
Hello.
Excellent. No other words I can use now. It was a great presentation, like I think we could feel your passion. I thoroughly enjoyed your talk. That came you out of your heart, I'm sure. Very motivational and with all clues. That's all something which I wanted to share. I'm also an avid traveler, many times alone, clubbing with my professional activities, but I have never dared to venture out solo in bike. So that is what made me sit all through your talk, where I can very well relate like how you look into the accommodation worries, etc., which was there for during my initial periods, but now I think things have changed. Okay, so it was very motivational, Lakshmi, and I'm sure that many of the participants might have got clues from you. So best wishes for all your future ventures as well as your good maternal time. And thanks, Rudy, for introducing such Lakshmi to us. So thank you, the whole team who really made it today. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mini ma'am. It was an honor to get words from your end. I haven't seen you. I don't know you, but still it feels like I have a connection because the words that came out of your mouth also feels like it came out of your heart. Thank you for spending that time to listen to me.
My pleasure.
Thank you so much, Mini ma'am. Thank you very much, Lakshmi.
Thank you, Shruti. So are we ending the session now?
Yeah. Do you have anything more to say?
No, that's it.
Okay.
I see a lot of participants, even larger than we started. Thank you everyone for coming. I wish you all have a fruitful life. If you are going through something, that's what I would end up my whole sessions with, every sessions. If you're going through something, if you don't have anyone to share, always reach out to me. I don't know you, you might know me. Still, I would like to help you out because I know depressions or any other issues are not something that you have to go through alone. Get help. Go to someone you trust. Do things that you love. And find happiness in that, because life is very short, but at the same time you need to live it in the full. So all the best with every one of your lives. Yeah,
that was so much love, Lakshmi. We all enjoyed it thoroughly. I hope all the participants do. Anyway, let's wind up for the day. Hopefully we will have a next episode of this web series. Lakshmi itself. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Yep.
So good night, everyone. It was such a wonderful evening. Thank you so much for participating.